A mammoth, incredible fourth quarter surge where the Jazz outscore the Milwaukee Bucks by the score of 40-13 in the fourth quarter leads to a raucous Sunday night win in Salt Lake, and we're talking about it on POSTCAST.
You are Locked On Jazz, your daily podcast on the Utah Jazz. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
David Locke along with Ron Boone after the Utah Jazz come back to beat the Milwaukee Bucks, a game which the Jazz led by 6 after 1. The Bucks go on a 19-2 run to open the second quarter. They play even after that, but you trail for most of that, and the Jazz kind of huffed and puffed and got to 9, and then all of a sudden they broke through, and when they broke through, they went on a 19-3 run of their own to take their first lead, and then they never stopped, and it really just became a 40-13 run in the fourth quarter. Milwaukee did play last night in Dallas. The Jazz have the best winning percentage at home of any team in the NBA over the last 30 years when they play a team on the back end of a back-to-back. So there were a lot of things, but the Jazz did take advantage of it, and they had to keep fighting to do it. I think that's – you can look at the reasons why. If you're the Bucks, you're going to look at this one and be like, last night cost us tonight. But from a Jazz standpoint, you didn't roll. Like, you stayed in the game. You stayed fighting. You were down by as many as 19 tonight. You could have rolled, and they didn't do it.
Yeah. I said during the course of the ball game that if the Jazz did this and that, it's always that question. If you do this, if you do that, you can win a basketball game. But they hung in there and fighting. The rookie Keyonte made some big threes. He answered a couple of threes that were made by the Milwaukee Bucks, which was awesome. But the play, the way they played hard, just hung in there and just got the job done.
There's so many things that are interesting in this game. One of the most interesting to me is that Jazz came in having really played bad defense for about 8 straight games. Their defense was actually really good most of the night, and the offense really wasn't very good for the first 3 quarters. And they stayed with it defensively. I think that's the most encouraging thing. The Bucks were they were in transition a decent amount, but the Bucks missed some. Dame wasn't very good. There were some issues, but I thought the Jazz stayed engaged defensively in a way that they haven't in those previous losses.
Yeah. Anytime you can do that and you stay in the game, especially on your home floor, there's always a chance that you're going to be able to separate yourself and end up winning the basketball game. Now, they took advantage of Damian Lillard. They took advantage of Malik Beasley. Both of those guys, not that great of a defensive players, but in order to win games in this league, you got to take care of your opponent's weaknesses. Jazz set out to do that by forcing Giannis a certain way and wanted to make sure that he saw 3 people, keep Damian Lillard going to his strong hand, to his right. They had a game plan, but the good players, they end up taking advantage of that.
The big story of the night, though, is the fourth quarter by the Jazz and no substitutions.
Yes.
The Jazz opened the fourth quarter tonight with Lauri Markkanen as the only starter on the floor. Keyonte George, Walker Kessler, Kelly Olynyk, and Jordan Clarkson. If you look at that 5, Lauri is Lauri. But Keyonte's been up and down recently. He's scored his last 4 games coming in at double figures, so he seemed to be trending in the correct direction. Jordan's not trending in the correct direction. Jordan had 10 assists the other night, but his three-point shooting is frigid. Walker's minutes have been diminishing. Kelly's minutes have been diminished. So there's guys that are really trying to find themselves. And then all of a sudden tonight, that's your closing lineup for Will Hardy.
And hopefully, this is one of those ball games that your confidence level gets high now, and you can get back to playing some very good basketball. Some great plays there in the fourth quarter, as you mentioned, by some players out there on the floor. Not so much the scoring, but the assists and finding the open man and challenging shots. Kessler blocking shots, and all of that stuff collectively can end up winning a basketball game for you. And those 4 guys got it done. I was very impressed with the 2 guys that had 9 assists, and that's going to be Kelly Olynyk and Clarkson.
Well, the thing they really are doing more and more, and it's why Kelly plays with Keyonte, is they run it through Kelly. Like, Kelly's playing off the elbow, and he's distributing. He made 3 or 4 really fabulous plays late in that game.
Yeah. Those and if any player needed the kind of ball game that he had, it was Keyonte. Yeah. He really needed this kind of a ball game and to continue to boost his confidence, so he can improve and show everyone that he can play in this league.
I mean, I think it's subtle, but we had 2 days off, right?
Yes.
right? I mean, we had 2 days off at home. Like, Keyonte jumped over the rookie wall tonight.
Oh, yes,
right?
He
And he might stay over this side of the rookie wall for the rest of the way. You play about 7 more games, you get All-Star break, and then you're on a college schedule the rest of the way. Like, then you're 20-some odd games. Like, this may be a huge, important game for Keyonte, where he just got 2 days off. He got to clear his brain. He just got to be able to be himself for a little bit, and not just in this kind of wild world. And the other thing that happens to these rookies that I don't think enough people talk about is every time you go to every city, someone wants to see you the first time. Like, and even, I mean, I remember my first years of play-by-play announcer, that's happening. And then you eventually decide, like, okay, I don't need to see them.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like, I don't need to keep seeing these people all the time.
Friends calling us, David, you remember me?
Right. Like, and it's not that they want tickets. They just want, like, oh, my gosh, you're in town. How cool. Yeah. And you think it's cool, too. Yeah. But next thing you know, you're just not quite as prepared. You're just tired. It's just overwhelming. And I think Keyonte has probably gone through some of that. That's what every rookie does. And so to be home, to be settled, to be able to just kind of get going. We saw him tonight. He just had a juice and a bounce to his game, and he had a confidence. He just has always looked like he belongs.
Yeah. We knew he can shoot the basketball. Being a playmaker is something that he had to adjust to at this level. And then having to play hard every night. I mean, back-to-backs, 3 games in 5 days, so that type of thing, and travel. As you mentioned, it can get to you if you let it.
Dame Lillard's been really good in back-to-backs all season long. Tonight he was not. He was 5 of 18. He was 1 of 8 from 3. What did the Jazz do to Lillard tonight? Well,
they didn't let him go to his left hand as much. He had 5 field goals. He had a couple of shots on that left side of the floor. And as I mentioned, he's taken 150 some. I'm trying to remember what my book says. 150 some 3-point shots from that left side of the floor up above the break. So that's the side of the floor he prefers. The Jazz try to make sure that he didn't get to that spot. Sometimes they double, but other times they were just trying to force him to that right hand.
I do want to take 1 second on the Bucks. You alluded to this earlier. I want to get your thoughts. This is a team that was built to win a championship. They made a huge trade for Dame. Can they win a championship if Dame Lillard and Malik Beasley are their guards?
That's I think this is going to be hard. As you know, you get into the playoffs, you're playing a team, the best of 7. Defense gets awfully, gets better, because you're playing the same team every night. And the hard part of David is when a team plays very, very well, and then you have to figure out what kind of adjustments they're going to make to be ready for it.
I mean, those are 2 of the best offensive play. Malik's shooting 47% from 3 is amazing right now. He cannot miss. Like, he's 4 of 6 again tonight. But, like, defensively,
but this is an offensive league.
Yeah, you got to be able to stop somebody.
You got to get in the way of some kind of way. Yeah.
Like, I mean, the Lakers didn't play Malik in the playoffs last year.
Yeah.
And it's just going to be really, really interesting to see how this one plays out. Jazz, by the way, the turnovers tonight, 9 in the second quarter, 6 in the second half. Yeah. That was a huge part of this one. Yeah. The Jazz are not forcing many turnovers, but they did force, after forcing 1 in the first quarter, they forced 4 in the fourth quarter, and they forced 10 after the first quarter. So that's an improvement.
I remember you made a comment about the minutes that they put on Giannis. Keeping up, Doc puts minutes on starters or something like that. But Giannis played 40 minutes tonight. I'm not sure what he played last night. He's a strong, lean, healthy player. I'm not sure if he can continue at that level.
I mean, I don't know what else they could ask for out of Giannis. He's got 33.7 rebounds, 13 assists. He goes 4 of 4 on jumpers tonight. Like, he was great. Like, if they don't win this game, when they're getting that out of Giannis, and they're getting Bobby, I mean, they were missing 2 of 5 starters. Let's realize that, Middleton, Lopez. But for the Jazz, I think the big thing is they stuck with it, and that's, I think, the story. Let's talk about Walker for a second. He finishes with 13 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 blocks. Like, he really was frustrated at one point tonight. And he has not been playing much. This was a big change for Walker to play this much.
Big change at 30. I mean, he played 26, what am I supposed to say, 27 minutes tonight. And his high for the year, I think, was around 33. And that was for sure was early in the year when he played that many minutes out there on the floor. But the minutes tonight was very productive. That first half, Will takes him out, and he is so down, beat. Goes to the end of the bench, lowers his head, and then it slumps down in his seat, so he's very upset probably with himself, or, sometimes you get in the ball game, you just don't get a chance to get going, but fortunately enough in that fourth quarter, Will kept him in there, and he was able to protect everything.
I wanted to just share one thing that's funny is that Lauri was 3 of 8 at one point from 3 tonight. And Ron and I were just felt like every time he shoots, you think it's going. Well, he finishes 5 of 10, so it's like every time he does shoot, it goes in 5. That's 50%.
Yeah.
All right, this is a really hard start tonight.
This
is a really hard start tonight. I am giving Walker one of the stars.
I'm going to give Keyonte one of the stars.
Then I think we'll just decide and apologize to Kelly Olynyk and Lauri Markkanen for what we just did to them.
Well, I got Kelly Olynyk and Lauri Markkanen.
Because Kelly Olynyk probably deserves a star tonight.
Absolutely.
But I think Walker deserves a star too. I thought Walker played really, really well. He was plus 22. He had 3 assists. He had 3 blocks.
Yeah.
He protected the rim. Milwaukee. Here's my claim. Here's why Walker deserves a star. You ready?
Yes.
Through 3 quarters, Milwaukee had taken 8 shots at the rim all night. In the fourth quarter, what did they do at the rim? They took only 3 shots the entire fourth quarter at the rim. And 2 of them were in the last minute.
Yeah.
So Walker gets a star for me. Keyonte deserves a star.
other.
We'll do it those 2.
Yeah.
Kelly and Lauri were super sorry. You should be really bad at this. If you care, which you probably don't.
Yeah.
All right. Big win. Fun fourth quarter. Jump on out here. We're home Tuesday against the Thunder. Hottest, probably the best team in the NBA other side of the Celtics right now. So come out and join us. Get tickets at UtahJazz.com. Great Jazz Plus story available. Bryce Sensabaugh on year 1 rookies. Have a great one. We now send you the first ever 24/7 national sports stream, Locked On Sports Today. Have a great one.